So hey, do things a little different because the message is just as important. When you're like, oh, I'm doing great, I'm ahead of schedule, everything's gonna work out fine. And then something happens. Like, I told myself I'm doing great. Wow, I've even done a little extra this morning. I'm still on time. Sorry, I'm getting ready. But anyways, I walk into my room and find my kitty cat sitting in my bamboo plant that I just repotted, dirt all over my floor, and I was like, don't get mad. Don't turn her into kitty chow. And it's just a reminder to don't try to blow up at everything in your path, right? Because, I was ready to make kitty chow mein out of that cat. But made me think, woosah, it's going to be okay. Because, like I said, now I'm over here like, no, not going to ruin my day. No, I don't want to. Don't blow up, Sheena. Don't blow up. It's not going to be the end of the world. But that's just the reminder for you. You can always be ahead of schedule and be like, wow, I have a little extra time. And then all of a sudden you're like, where'd all this traffic come on a day that there's not supposed to be traffic? At a time there's not supposed to be traffic. Why my life? But just remember, everything happens for a reason. Everything is always working out for you. Even when it doesn't feel like it's working out, everything is always working out for you. And that's something I had to learn to tell myself. Everything is always working out for me. I'm exactly where I need to be. And just woosah. Learn to let go and have faith that in the end, maybe you missed an accident that you would have been in. Maybe you didn't fall behind something that could have been detrimental. Maybe you were ahead of it. Maybe there's a lot of possibilities in this world. And I think a lot of times we're so used to our own routine. We're used to things that we control, right? But a lot of us don't realize everything in this world is truly out of our control. We are merely, I don't want to say pawns in a game, more like molecules in an atom. Free-flowing until you get to that point where you get locked in place and you create a valence shell in that atom and you make it whole. I know, it might not make sense. But once you're in that, you're no longer just that free-flowing, where am I going? Where am I needed? What do I do? You just got to see it as a gas bubble. But it's okay to feel like you need to captain your ship all the time. And I know I've made videos that said captain your ship, but in the same note, it's also relinquish control. That's been the hardest part for me because I've had to be in control so much, being around somebody that was, they were always trying to make me lose control, make me lose my true self, to look foolish so that they could continue their shenanigans behind other people's backs and then make it look like I was crazy. They accomplished that for a while. I mean, I had a vein popping out of my head. I had to tell myself by the time I was 25 years old, if you don't stop this, you're going to have an aneurysm. You're going to end up losing your life because somebody had that much control over my life, kind of like the cat digging in the plant. And I had to be like, it is what it is. It's fixable. In the sense of the screaming and yelling, that was fixable too. I had to control myself. But at some point, you have to stop controlling yourself and you have to walk away from the situation. You have to say, okay, you keep wanting to bring me out of character. You keep wanting to make me look foolish. So you know what I'm going to do? Bye. And find peace and serenity. Find that portion of your life that allows you to go, wow, the sun is beautiful today. I have time to sit and breathe and relax and enjoy my day. That's hard to do when you're in situations where people are like, poke, 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 poke. You gonna get mad yet? Hey, you know what? And they spread rumors and they want it to get back to you because they just want to see you like, don't let people do that to you. That only empowers the wicked. Because when it comes down to it, there's people that we all have a shadow side, right? Shadow side. But a lot of people are okay functioning in that because it has been so productive in their life. They get what they want from others. They get reactions that they sit back and go, they feel powerful. But when you can learn to pull back from that and be like, take that way over there. No, keep going, get away from me. As a matter of fact, don't look at me, don't breathe my air, don't fart in my space. Leave me alone. And when you learn to stand up for yourself, and I know that's hard, and I always thought I stood up for myself, and still occasionally I lose it like I did the other night, because our days are hard, right? We're not always, I don't want to say in control of ourselves, but we're not always to the point where we can manage our emotions the way that they need to be. Because we're human. We're going to just bleh from time to time. And that's okay. People tend to think that you have to walk around and be this, it's okay, really understanding and caring and loving person to be a good person. When you're standing up for yourself, people will say that you're not. So it comes down to the point where we have to maintain balance and keep ourselves grounded. And that's not necessarily easy in the world that we live in. But when you can learn to let certain things fly and just say, it's not really going to affect me. Is that going to affect me 10 minutes from now? Is that going to affect me tomorrow? Is that changing the course of my life? No, not really. And when you can learn to look at it in a sense that you can let it go, you're going to be happier. You know, I had to tell somebody, because they're always complaining about someone they're dealing with. Man, they're always trying to fight. They're always trying to prove me wrong. And I had to say, just say, okay, you're right. Does it matter? Is it something that you're agreeing to, that you're owing something in the backside? Or is it just a conversation? Is it just their perspective and their point of view? Because the thing about life is we all view life differently. We will never have the same experience. You will never smell the same smell that I smell. You will never get the same reaction that I get from a situation. Sorry. You will never exactly feel things the same way that I feel things, and I'm talking sensory. And it's because we're each designed a little bit uniquely. It's just like our fingerprints. We're not here to have the same journey. We're not here to do the same thing. If we did, I used to ask my kids, what can you build with 7 billion bolts? At some point, you need other materials to build with, to build a structure or something that is like mind-blowing. Because at a true reality of it, if you have 7 billion bolts, you're like, that's a big wad of nothing. I can't do anything with that. So just remember that you are unique. You are meant to do things that will help the world have an additive to it, a flavor, your spice, let's say. That flair that you bring to the table. When you walk in, people might look at you and be like, oh, there they are. But when you're in that toxic energy, they're like, oh, there they are. And they want to creep away and you're like, hey, what's up? I don't want to deal with you. Now, the thing is, toxic people love to deal with toxic people because they create havoc together. But a lot of us are looking for that peace and serenity. That thing that allows us to be good parents. That thing that allows us to be good children to our parents. That thing that allows us to be good siblings. That we become helpers instead of hinderers. And it's all a matter of how you look at your plant being destroyed before you have to get to work when you were ahead of schedule. some things in life are not worth batting an eye at. And the more that you can learn to be like, hey, he's up to his nonsense again. Okay, you have fun with that. The more that that person's going to put their head down and go back to the drawing board. And as they busy themselves with how to bother you, that gives you time to build and create, to become more than a bolt. We're all capable of being amazing. Don't let the people that are miserable and love hating others because they've been hurt, don't let them continue to affect you. Because the less you react, the more you grow. Like I said, the more they will back up. And eventually they'll go find another target. But the thing is, when you become strong enough, you speak up for others. I've always said speak up for the voiceless. Stand up for those which cannot stand up for themselves. At some point, I was the person that could not speak up for myself out of fear. If I say that or I stand up for myself in front of them, I know how he's going to react to that. I know what hell is going to await me at home. I know what it's going to do to my children. So I learned to sit in silent grief. I learned to sit in desperation. And at some point I had to stop staring at the wall and start configuring a plan in my mind without the person knowing of how I'm going to escape. And it was an escape. It was an escape from hell. Many people don't make it through that because it takes a lot of willpower and a lot of learning to let things go. Let that person be right regardless, because you're not going to fight them. Because is it fun to beat on someone who's not going to beat back? For some people, that is enjoyable because it empowers them. Yes, for the longest time, I fought back. I had so many battle wounds. And I remember feeling the pain going, man, I might as well be a boxer because I might be able to make some money off of this. I would hurt for days. But then I had to learn the power of being the most boring thing in the room when I was around him, and hiding my light when we were around others. I knew that if I shined, he was going to try to snuff me out. And it was methodically done in front of others. So remember to watch the company you keep, but also remember to learn to let certain things go, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to change the outcome of where you're at in your moment. The only thing you should be concerned about if you're living in a toxic situation is to get the hell out. Do it quietly. Do it in a way where you can disappear. Because I'll tell you, he still stalked me after I left him. And it took me a while to be able to look him in the face and say, I'm not afraid of you, devil. And when I called him out for what he was, because he had been contaminated by a nasty spirit. And it's funny, when you call the devils out for what they are, they can't touch you anymore. It's like telling Dracula, no, you cannot enter my home. When you don't invite them in, they don't come in. When you learn to pray to a higher power and you use that force that comes with that, you can push out any demon. You would be amazed. I am not lying to you. I have watched it. I have watched someone's eyes turn completely black with the intention of taking my life, and prayer is the only thing that stopped them. Prayer in my head and staring him down, and it was the hardest stare down. It was like staring down a Rottweiler that hadn't eaten. You looking at Cujo, he's about to eat my ass, and it was still, I'm not backing down because you do not have the power over me. So don't let anyone take your power away. I promise you, you have so much inside of you. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Now start harnessing that energy. Have faith in a higher power and utilize it. Blow the demons away. On that note, I gotta go because I'm actually almost out of time, even though I was ahead of time. Peace, love, and light. Bye.